you finding life a little bit boring, maybe unfulfilling at the moment? Or on the flip side, you may be feeling life very like anxious, feeling like really like risky and scared right now. Okay. Well, today I'm going to talk about feeling safe, taking risk, and men's mental health. And if you stay until the very end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Just before we dive in, want to mention that if you want to keep connected with me and check out my latest content, then you can connect with me on my social media, linked in the show notes below. So for me, I've taken risks in my life, which have paid off. Sometimes made life a bit more challenging, and I've also played it safe. And sometimes that was a right decision. Sometimes I felt like I should have done something else, right? And for me, there's been a balance, and I'm going to go into some guidance on this. And I'm talking about this because I see people on both sides. I see people who and and I work in sales, and I see people who are trying to play it safe, and it really upsets me because they're like saying things like, oh, I really want to change my life. Oh no, I'm a little bit scared, when actually they could be more resourceful when they really want something. And I've seen it in coaching as well. And people are so scared they want to play everything safe. The problem is, even though, a ship is going to be, this is a really good analogy, one of my mentors taught me, right? A ship is going to be safe in the harbour. That's not what it's made for, though, is it? Right? But it may be at risk at sea, but it's made to go at sea, right? Same with us humans. We're made for growth, I believe. And I've seen people like so just like trying to keep everything safe when there's actually no certainty in life. Now there is a balance, and we'll go into that, but it's making them miserable. And I've also seen people maybe take risks that weren't the best move, including myself, admittedly. I made too many sort of like financial risks sometimes. So I'm going to go into like kind of how I balance things out now. Because I don't play it completely safe, but I don't go crazy or risk or anything like that. I've seen people like just leave their job with no plan on what they're going to do, right? Now, I've heard people say they've done that and it's worked out for them. Yeah, 100%. But I've seen it go bad for some people as well. So again, make your own mind up, see what it is, right? So, like I say, I believe life is a growth centric experience, not a comfort based experience. And I feel like when I've played it too safe and not done things I wanted, it's actually impacted mentally on me, and I've not felt good about who I am. I've not given myself the opportunities. Yet when I put myself too much at risk, can be a high level of anxiety, right? So we really want to talk about this today, and I want to ask you, like, get you thinking about how it's impacting on you. Maybe you're on the kind of too safe, play it safe, and you don't want to take any steps, or maybe you've taken quite a lot of risks and now you're feeling a bit on edge, right? And I've been guilty of that too. So this is my guidance for what I'm gonna say on this and getting a balance. First question is, what do you want? You've got to ask yourself what you want. If you're like making decisions, oh, is it safe? Is it risky? It's like you've got to decide if it matters. Like for me, there's things where people may approach me and I'm like got no interest in those things, right? It's like I get people like promoters and stuff approach me all the time about like my YouTube content, for example, and I'm like, I don't care, right? I publish my podcast, um, I publish my podcast and then put it on YouTube, right? It might be something I do in future, but I wouldn't go with someone who's approaching me because I know they're probably not going to be that good. Whilst the experts out there are the ones you have to reach out for. So, like asking yourself, like, what do you? And so with that example. I was going down a certain route there, but with that example, for example, I'm going to play it safe. I'm not going to do anything because I'm not focusing on that. But with my podcast, I'm going to put stuff out there. And like putting myself out there at first was a bit risky, but it's paid a massive impact on me, like in terms of the impact I'm putting on people, right? So you've got to ask yourself what you want, as you don't know where you're going to go. God, I mixed my words up there a little bit. So ask yourself, like, what is what you're doing right now going to get you there? The systems, everything you've got in place, right? So if you're like, right, I want to be, this is a classic one, like, and I work in this industry in kind of like sales, and I've been a coach. this is an example with people wanting to be coaches who've still not got their like first client or set up their business, but they want to, right? Like, I'm going to do some more research. I'm setting up a website. I'm doing all this. I'm like, that's playing it safe. That's scared of taking risks of going out there and having conversations with people. Is that getting you to where you want to, right? You've got to ask yourself that, right? And if it's not, maybe it's time to take a little bit of a risk. The third thing, ask yourself, what is going to be the pain of staying the same, right? Not just now, not just in the past, but in the future, because when you bring all three of those times in, that's going to play a massive impact. And of course, if you're feeling really, and then my fourth one is if you're feeling like there's too much risk, then right now, then take a breath, get some stuff to ground you, and then figure out an action plan. Right, that's always been the best way for me. And then the fifth point, celebrate every single step as you go. Like if you're taking even the smallest step out of your comfort zone towards growth, then pat yourself on the back and celebrate, because that's going to encourage you to do more of it. Now, I've got a final point I want to share. Before I go on to that, just want to remind you again that if you want to keep up to date with all my latest content and connect with me, you can find me on social media, and I've linked all my links below. My final share would be getting a second point of view. When you get someone else's point of view, it can really help you kind of think a little bit differently, getting some different input. That's really been beneficial to me in my life, of getting someone else's input onto situations when I was a little bit unsure of what I was doing and where I was going. And it's not, at the end of the day, you're the decision maker, but getting someone who's experienced in the area and asking for their input can be a really beneficial thing. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people in your life by working yourself as a man. And remember to lead with your heart, not with fear.